I decided to cover this movie because at some point I do intend to cover Perfect Blue, and both of these movies were by the same director slash artist. Unfortunately, Satoshi Kon passed away at the age of 56 in 2010. He truly was an amazing artist and storyteller. Millennium Actress was released in 2001, and it is an animated movie with a lot of drama. The movie was directed and written by Satoshi Kon. The screenplay was written along with Saduki Murai. The stars are Miyoko Shoji, Mami Koyama, and Fumuki Orikasa. They all play the different phases of the life of Fujiwara Chiyoko. Before I get too deep into the plot of this movie, I do want to talk about 5 very important characters. Our main character is Fujiwara Chiyoko. She was a talented actress that began young and continued working through a long portion of her life. But for the last 30 years, she has disappeared from the public eye. She has agreed to do an interview about her life. She was once one of the biggest stars in Japan. She worked on period pieces, dramas, and even kaiju movies. Tachiban Genya is an interviewer, and we learn from the second half of the movie he does have a personal connection to Chiyoko past just being a superfan. Through this entire movie, he portrays the heroes in the stories that she played a character in. The reasoning for that has something to do with what happened later. The short of it is that he saved her life when he was younger, and he loved her. Ida Kyoji is a cameraman, and he is honestly just here for the ride. He's trying to get some footage and to do his job. His interactions with Genya are at times a much-needed comedic relief from so much heartbreak. The artist, which is all we really ever know him as, isn't really a character, he's just the object of Chiyoko's desires. Her desire to find him led her to all the movies that we see she was a part of. The final of what I consider to be important characters is Shiyamo Iiko. She is an actress during the first movie Chiyoko was in and is resentful of her as time goes on, especially when she is stuck playing her mother in roles. When Genya and Kyoji meet Chiyoko for the first time, she's a very old woman. Her hair has gone gray and she looks quite tired. There are a few earthquakes in the area and she just seems exhausted. But when Genya gives her a necklace with a key at the end, she seems to notably perk up. He lets her know that someone had found it at Genji Studios. The key had come from the artist, a man that she had met when she was a teenager and he was on the run. This was during the Sino-Japanese War, which bled into World War II as far as timing goes. It was clear to us that the artist did not support Japan, which is understandable because this would be around the time that the Nanjing Massacre would have taken place, and it was not a good time for Japan, in a way. But it did lead him to be chased out of the area, with police looking to take him into custody for speaking out against the government. They have a very brief conversation considering how long it's going to be, so deeply important to Chiyoko. He gives her a key and tells her it unlocks something important, and that they will meet together in the future. It is the single most important moment of her life. Despite being afraid of the police, she points them in a different direction than when the man has gone. All she knows is that he is an artist and that he is heading to Manchuria. So, that is where Chiyoko goes for her first movie. Her motivation to become an actress was so that her face would be everywhere. It makes the most logical sense that the artist would see her on the screen, that he might recognize her, and they may be able to meet at some point sooner rather than later. When she meets Aiko, the older actress, she's very beautiful and very confident about pretty much everything. Something that seems like a drastic personality difference between the two of them. And this doesn't help as the movie continues and Chiyoko's star rises while Aiko's ages. A train crash occurs where Chiyoko's character is on the train and Genya's desire to save her comes up. We see briefly what it looks like in the room that they're actually interviewing in. They don't do this a lot, which I think is a good idea. Basically, Chiyoko and Genya are acting out what happened in these movies, and it's something I think that they're both clearly enjoying a great deal. Chiyoko learns sometime later that the government had taken the artist. It turns out that Chiyoko isn't just a talented actress when playing a soft, delicate lady, but also an action star. Her ability to go from role to role is probably what kept her famous for as long as she was. She falls into the world of a geisha, one that is being beaten down pretty harshly by the world, which I imagine is pretty close to how she felt at the time. She bumps into the artist one last time, and I think it's around this time that he gets killed while he is in police custody. She tries to return the key to him, and he does show that he recognizes her. There is a promise that they would meet again someday, and they'll meet where they said they would. But the truth is, they will never see each other again. When the 1950s roll around, Chiyoko's career is hitting a new high. Due to the war ending and some American intervention, things are better than ever for her. Her career is really skyrocketing. It is with resignation that she marries the director. She kind of accepts that the artist might be gone from her life forever, and in the 1960s, she becomes a housewife. During the filming of her last movie, she is heading into outer space, which makes sense for the time period. She is way too busy being the leading actress of Genai Studios, and it's where her hopes and dreams start to crash on her. Aiko is still working with her. She's now portraying Chiyoko's mother in a movie. The character is being admonished by Aiko's for not having a home to give her a grandchild, something that likely hit pretty hard on Chiyoko, as that it's not something that she ever had. It is in the scene that Chiyoko first loses her key. The key is very symbolic of her love and obsession with the artist. It is revealed that Aiko is the one that took the key from this scene. At first it seems as though it was just to mess with Chiyoko. We later learned that the director of the movie they were in had asked her to take it. He wanted her to take it so that he could start forcing his way into her heart. She had previously rejected his advances, but after losing the only connection she had to the artist, it seems a lot easier to convince her into a relationship. The key is the only thing that she has to remember the artist by. She is no longer a schoolgirl, she is an adult woman that has matured and obviously aged. That key was the only sign that she was still out there, looking for him. Another earthquake hits, and Genya saves her again, but unfortunately she is very old and very frail at this point. While she is cleaning the house, she is dusting a bookshelf. She accidentally knocks some things over from the top, and one of them is a red box that holds the key. Although Aiko had stolen the key from her, she had done it on the request of the director. It was basically a con job, and multiple people manipulated her into doing what they wanted her to do. After the end of her marriage, a one-legged, one-eyed soldier arrives to speak to her. She is able to recognize him as the soldier that had taken the artist from her. He has a letter that the artist had written and passes it to her. She reads it and then runs off. Instead of finding the artist, she finds a woman that had been haunting her throughout the entire movie. The ghost tells her that she will be burning forever in the eternal flames of love, that this obsession is consuming her. The movie does seem like an odd way to portray an actress's life, but I think it works. But then there is an earthquake, and it causes for the roof of the studio to collapse down onto her. Genya manages to save her from being badly injured, putting himself on top of her so that the weight would land on him. And that's almost a wake-up call to her. So, she leaves it all behind. She leaves it and disappears for 30 years, only for Genya to be given the opportunity to interview her, because of course she remembers the face of the man that had saved her. A mirror towards how she would have hoped the artist would have reacted had he seen her as an adult. And I do like that mirror, even if nothing really comes of it, honestly. After the incident, she realizes that had he been alive, she was not the person that she had been. The female ghost that had been chasing her this entire movie is actually just an older version of herself. A reminder that she is aging, that time is passing, and he wouldn't recognize her anymore. She didn't stick around for the soldier to explain what happened to the artist, so only Genya was aware of his fate. I think after nearly dying on the set, the movie also made her question what this was all for. It's clear that she loves acting when she's discussing it with Genya and playing along with those roles. The truth is, the artist has been dead for quite a long time. The soldier that brought the note admitted that he took part in the torture of the man, which led to his death. So unfortunately, for the last 40, 50 years, he's been gone. Chiyoko is taken to the hospital where it's clear that she doesn't have much longer. She knew that she was chasing the shadow of a man that was no longer there, but that she did enjoy the chase. Her hopes are that wherever she is going in the afterlife, she is younger and she has the key with her, because she hopes to chase him into their afterlife, hoping that they might finally have the life that she wanted, just not during life. And honestly, I hope that she does. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Amanda. This has been Horror Historian. I hope you enjoyed this little romp. I don't think I would have followed anyone my entire life, so I do respect her for sticking to one thing that she really cares about. Next week I will be covering Inglourious Basterds, which is a movie that I do like, a lot different than this one.